Hi there, my name's Andrew Adams from Parker Adams Boat Sales, and I'm in a very murky Bradwell marina today down in Essex. And the reason I'm here is because I'm taking on a Targa 34. Now, this Targa 34, as you'll see behind me, is a later edition Targa 34. So it's a 2004 model year. And the big difference, of course, with this boat is that it has the smoked windows and the highly desirable KAD300 engines. Now, just to explain a little bit about being down in Essex, obviously we're based on the Hamble River. We're doing a marketing only package on this where I've come down today, I'll be photographing the boat, doing this walkthrough tour, and then for a lower percentage we then let the customer do their own viewings. So we're there to assist and help with the sale, but the customer does their own viewing. So it's a great package for anybody that has a boat which is not based on the south coast but would actually still like to get Parker Adams Boat Sales involved in the sale. So back to this one. So this Targa 34, as I mentioned, it has the really desirable KAD300 engines. But also really importantly about this boat, it has been improved hugely throughout the whole boat. And when I say the whole boat, so let's start at the back. You have Teak, which has been done to the bathing platform and then throughout the cockpit. You have new cockpit upholstery. You've got a new Raymarine chart plotter. Down below, you've got new carpets, you've got new upholstery, and this boat just has a really nice feeling of freshness and improvements throughout. So it's a pleasure to bring you this boat, and let's crack on with the walkthrough tour. So, as everyone is familiar with the Targa 34, it's an absolutely classic shape. Fairline really did hit the nail on the head with this, and it's the most popular boat that they've built throughout the years. As I mentioned, 2004 model year boat, so it's the later version. You can see here the teak, it's an ash colour, so slightly lighter teak than the traditional. It was fitted by Ty and his team from Elite Teak. And actually it's really nice to see it slightly lighter. I think the lightness actually really works very, very well on this boat. I was talking to the owner this morning and he said that he changed his mind from traditional right at the very last minute. You can see covers have also been replaced. I didn't mention that when I was doing the initial talk. So brand new covers were fitted to this boat last year and they're very, very tight and a really good set of covers. The boat is presented overall in very, very good condition. You can see a really nice sheen on the hull and the top sides there, despite the fact that it is a very, very cold December morning here in Essex. But the boat it really is beautiful. And these covers, just the little attention to details, the pop studs there, the covers, they've really emphasised the light in the covers. So there's as much clear space there as possible, and the owners said as soon as these covers went on it made a huge difference to how the boat felt inside. So let's step on board. The 34 doesn't have a walk round step that comes all the way, but it's not too bad, so you just step onto there from a stern access, and you can see straight away the image in here is of a very, very fresh, cosy, beautifully presented Targa 34. It's got this new Silvertex upholstery which has been fitted throughout within the last couple of years. There's a new teak table that's in there. You've got some cushions around, and the boat just has a real feeling of freshness. There is a hole there that's going to be covered. The boat previously had a passerelle fitted. That was removed by the current owner, so there's a little vent cover that's going to go onto there. In terms of the Targa 34, a lot of people have seen I've recorded a lot of videos on these, so I won't go into huge amounts of details about the Targa 34, but more focus on this video about what's different about this one. And the first thing to mention here is you've got a Raymarine 7-inch display. That's a really, really lovely machine, very, very quick to use. It's also got the addition of the keypad effectively on that side there, which is really good because when you're going along and you're going fast, sometimes it can be tough to press the touchscreens. So it's nice to have that separate extra there. Original Raymarine equipment there with an autopilot, your depth, your speed and the tri-data. The rev counters have been updated, so these were updated about 190 hours ago, and they were updated when the boat had done about 500 hours. So the boat's done around about 700 hours on those KAD300 engines. EDC electronic controls, of course, on the later generation, and I really like little touches the owner's done, like he's replaced all of the switches, so it's kept that dashboard there looking really, really modern, and you have a new VHF that's also been fitted and a fire extinguisher down there. Another thing that's been done, I don't know if the current owner did this, but I've noticed normally on the Targa 34s this hatch comes all the way down to there, but actually it's quite fiddly to get in there, so I quite like the fact that someone's cut that. It could have been damaged at some point and it's been cut, but actually I think it's really nice the fact you can now get access in there to the things that are stored. If I just give a pan around now, of the overall impression of the boat, and you can see it really does feel a really lovely boat. In case anyone wonders what that is, that's a heater there keeping me warm. So now my phone is ringing, I should have turned that one off. Bear with me a second, I'm just going to turn that off. So yeah, there's a heater there which is just keeping this cockpit nice and warm. There's also a radiator down below, which again in winter mode just keeps everything nice and protected. So let's go down below. First thing that strikes you is the carpet. So all of the carpet on the boat has been replaced in the last year or so, and it's lovely and soft underfoot. It has a feeling like that Targa 40 we've recently sold, very high quality. You've got a new leather upholstery here, and then you've got these blinds that are fitted. Now I did this on my Targa 34, and I think it makes a huge difference to how modern the interior looks. The cherry wood on the boat is all presented very, very nicely. There's very, very few marks on it anywhere, and the headlining is all up and really, really strong. This is the sort of age of boat, sometimes you can get sagging headlining, but that's not the case with this boat at all. I really like the grey work surface on here. Some boats have the blue, this has got the grey, and of course under here you have a 2-burner gas hob and an oven as well, and then the fridge. The stereo unit, it's a Bluetooth stereo, so it connects directly to your phone and provides all your music straight from your phone. And then underneath here, you have your Targa 34 distribution panel. Something else I've noticed is that all of these stay up. Now that's something which is quite unusual. Again, sometimes the gas goes on these, but throughout the whole boat, throughout every single lift up, they all stay up. Silly little things, but if you go on as many Targa 34s as I do, you notice these. Let's start off in the front cabin. So the front cabin, all of the bed surrounds have also been replaced, which is nice. That was all done at the time when the upholstery was done in the main saloon area. You've got a skylight down there and of course the carpet. In here you've got an electric flush toilet. That was a factory fit option. The only place in here on this boat where the wall linings have gone slightly is just in here, so that's something a new owner may want to do. It's a very small space just to redo those linings there, but that's probably the only thing I've noticed on the boat in terms of wall linings where it's gone slightly. Of course, I always like to show this feature. The Targa 34 has this quite clever vanity unit there, so you turn that round and there's a mirror on there which is good for storage space. If we go into the back cabin, this boat is fitted with the optional sink. So you have a nice sink in there if you have guests on board. You've got a small sofa unit. And then in here, because we're in winter mode at the moment, you've got all the front sunpad cushions, which have been made in the same upholstery as the cockpit. And then you've also got a radiator in there as well. Good storage space under the sink and on the top. And there's more storage space under the bed as well. But you can see the new carpet has run throughout there as well. On the Targa 34, I always point this out, I think it's a nice little feature. You have a little pull-out step here, and that has also been reupholstered when the upholstery has been done. So it's quite nice. You can put that there, and that then doubles up as a footrest, or of course an extra space around the table. Close that back up and slide it in again. There we go. So a beautifully presented Targa 34 down below. As you can see, the upholstery looks in utterly perfect condition. The new carpets really do add a lot to this boat. The grey worktops look superb. And of course your steps, and then just under here, nestling under there, is your bin, nicely out the way of the galley, which means it's not taking up precious covered space. Let's go back upstairs. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift up the engine bay and show you guys the condition of the KAD300 engines. Now these these engines have had a lot of money spent on them in the last few years. They've been really, really well maintained. And when the owner had this boat back in March last year, he serviced all the engines, serviced the drives. So she was really ready to go in March. So she'll need a service at the beginning of the season next year, but they are all presented in excellent condition. We've got a really nice service history and records going back years on this boat, which is always really nice to see. So I'm going to put the camera down now for a second, lift up the engine patch and show you around the KAD300 engines. So you can see I've now lifted up the hatch on the 34. So the way that you lift up the hatch on the Targa 34 is that this side just lifts up, and the owner's actually replaced that with a little spring mechanism which keeps that up in place. And then the rear seat is on a hinge, and that then lifts up to give really, really good access to the engines. Now, as I've mentioned, these are KAD300 engines. They look to be presented in very nice order, and the service history and records that we have with this boat also agrees with that. Now, this boat generates 285 horsepower, and that pushes the Targa 34 along to around about the 40 knots mark. I always had about 39.5, but a little bit of tide and you can get over 40 knots on these boats. So they really are a brilliant performance cruising boat. So that's access to the engines, and as you can see, they're presented in good condition. There's a little bit of rainwater build up in the bottom of the bilge that the owner's coming down later on today to clear it down, but that's how the cockpit comes apart and access to the engines on the 34. So I think I'll use that as a point to bring this video to a close. Hope you've enjoyed the walkthrough on this exceptional 34. I think it really is one of the best that we've had the opportunity to sell. Remember, it's a 2004 model year, so it's the later generation Targa 34. My phone is ringing again. I really should have turned this off. Just decline that one. So yes, so it's a later generation Targa 34, presented in fantastic condition with some really great upgrades such as these covers, the upholstery, the teak, the carpets down below, the upholstery down below as well. So this boat is fantastic. It's here at Bradwell Marina in Essex. Viewings, as I mentioned earlier, will be done by the owner. But if you want to get in touch with us to talk more about this boat, then we'd be delighted to have a conversation and then put you in touch with Leon. So thanks as always for watching and subscribing to the channel. It's a pleasure to show you another one of the boats that Parker Adams are marketing, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks as always.